That's fair. All right, Sam, end it with this. We've had about 3 questions in the chat for people that want your take on Franz and what his draft stock is. And is that Laura in the background? Did you see her?
Yeah, she just walked in.
Tell her we said hi. Tell her we said thank you for allowing us to borrow you. And give us your 60-second take on Franz Wagner, and then we can get out of here.
Yeah, so with Franz, it's funny. Like you mentioned that he's probably the best player on their team. I agree, but it's kind of like having Robert Covington as the best player on your team a little bit. Like I think that that's the guy that he most reminds me of going forward to the NBA. Like a guy that's a little bit of a streaky shooter, a really, really good cutter, a great off-ball defender, has legitimate size at 6'9", but is kind of skinny. He moves his feet sneakily a little bit better than Covington on the ball. Like I think that he doesn't get like waxed on the ball as much as Covington does. Sometimes, teams that have had Covington in the past will switch him and he gets just kind of beaten on the ball a little bit too much. But with Franz, I think that that's more what you're talking about. You're talking about a guy that can play like the hybrid 3-4, can knock down shots from distance at probably a 38% clip, but he might miss a bunch in a row and then make a bunch in a row. And then it's going to be just a super high level defender. And to me, that guy's worth something in the range of a top 20 pick. I think you nailed it, Rob. Like I've been thinking a lot, like I've talked about this on my podcast, like Aaron Henry versus Franz Wagner in some way, right? I really like Aaron Henry as well. Aaron Henry's a way better on-ball defender, has a way better frame, a little bit more physical, stronger. I think the difference is the jump shot. Obviously, it's just a cleaner offensive fit with Franz. But, I think that's a little bit closer than what other people do. And that's kind of made me hesitate a little bit from putting Franz like full stop. Oh my God, this guy's a top 10 pick. Oh my God, if I could guarantee that I was getting Robert Covington, I'd take that guy at 11. But I don't know that I feel totally confident with that.
Top 10 feels like a little bit of people trying to get ahead of the hype. You know what I'm saying? Like that feels a little bit high to me. But I do think he's a guy.
I'll tell you what it is. It's that me, NBA scouts, executives, people who do this as well on the internet like I do, we're really trying to hunt for the guy who is number 6, number 7, number 8, number 9. There isn't a guy right now. You could make the case that it is Scotty Barnes. You could make the case that it's Franz Wagner. Like the guy that I feel most confident is going to have an NBA impact is Corey Kispert. I mean, like, how would you feel about taking Corey Kispert at number 6 in the 2021 NBA draft?
Like, I don't think that you can just because there's like you want to. If I'm drafting 6th, I still want to draft a little bit for upside. I want to be able to roll the dice and take a shot on someone that I think could end up being a star. Because if I have the 6th pick, odds are pretty good I don't have a very good team. And I feel like with Corey Kispert, he's a guy who can plug into like a good team. Same thing with a little bit with Franz. I think he's a guy where I can see the role that he's going to play in the NBA, and I think he's going to be very effective at it. To go on your comparison with Aaron Henry, I think Aaron's a guy that has a chance to be a really, really good pro. I don't necessarily see the role without the jump shot. You know what I'm saying? Like, right. I feel like he's kind of at his best with the ball in his hands, whereas Franz is a guy that doesn't really need the ball to be able to do the things that he does best. So I don't know. That's a good one. That's one I'm going to have to think about. But you know who else I love? And we were texting about this the other day. Chris Duarte is the guy. Like I
love that kid.
Chris Duarte, Davion Mitchell. Like I'm leading those bandwagons. And Sam, I don't care what you say. Herb Jones, first round pick, stud.
Yeah, I'm not quite there. I like Herb a lot. He's really good, and he's like I was totally out. Do you remember a couple years ago, like the Herb Jones train that everyone was on because he guarded Trae Young that one game, and everyone got super excited.
And then he shot 7% from 3. 7%.
Yeah, I was not in on Herb Jones at that point, and it's really been impressive to me the way that he's put down his head and has just gotten to work and has become as good as he is. He can really pass the ball. Obviously, he is becoming something of a non-total zero shooter. I still don't really trust the jump shot, which is why I have him as a second round pick. But for him to get to that point where he is a second round pick, I think is a credit to Herb Jones.
Yeah.
Sam, do you find that with the unknown, is that where we're seeing an organization do something like the Thunder have done with Alexei Pokashevsky? Where you're gonna bet on somebody that's overseas?
Yeah, it's interesting. This overseas class is okay. Like, I don't think it's amazing necessarily. I really like Josh Giddey, who's over here in Australia. Shout out NBA Chalamet. I just, he can't really shoot yet. So you're drafting a guy who's 6'8", can really handle the ball, can really pass, can do a lot of stuff, and just isn't quite there yet as a shooter. So if that never comes along, what does his role look like?
Right.
I'm not really an Usman Garuba guy. I'm not really a Roko Prokachin guy yet. Like, I haven't watched enough of him. So I see it more as teams might take swings on upside guys like BJ Boston and Jalen Johnson earlier than I would, maybe. But that's a different conversation for a different day, maybe.
We don't need you trashing BJ Boston on this stream.
I'm curious to see where James Bouknight lands in all this.
Love James Bouknight.
Let me get the Robs. Like, I'm not trashing BJ Boston. Like, he just wasn't very good this year, and it's okay.
No, I know your take. I just we don't need you. Trust me, I'm with you. You have probably the most rational take on BJ Boston from things that I've seen on the internet. And Fanta, James Bouknight is actually, like, we've had all this talk about who the top 5 should end up being. We all know James Bouknight needs to go number 1 because he's going to be the best player in this draft class. He's better than Cade Cunningham. And that is my take, unbiased.
Love it. That's what I needed to hear.
And this is my take. This is my take unbiased. And I'm not just saying this because he's on with us at 1:33 a.m. Eastern time. Look, Rob, you and I are not, immersed in the NBA draft pool. I can tell you right now, Sam_VECENIE. Every year, Sam, we do that Big East NBA draft segment, and every year you tell it like it is, and you're spot on. And every year there's a bunch of people on draft day with their mock left, right, this, that. I don't know. I don't even remember what the total amount of mocks that you do for The Athletic. But, folks, if you're not reading Sam at The Athletic, if you need an NBA mock draft or advice, do not go to some of the other people. I could say a word right now. I will. It's 1:34 in the morning. Don't go to the hacks. Go to Sam Vecenie. I'm telling you. I'm just telling you what I feel at this hour.
It's the
Merlot. I knew I loved you.
The Merlot speaking. Listen, Sam.
This
I appreciate you jumping on.
This is why I knew that Fanta was my guy. I told you I came on for Fanta, not for you.